So the government shutdown, started by Donald Trump, is now nearly into its third week, right? And in that time, of course, President Trump has refused to back down from the position that you need to give me $5 billion for my wall, and or else I'm gonna continue to keep the government shut. Okay, but now here's the question that not a lot of people are asking: why are we shutting down the government that refuses to pay for a wall, right? When it was supposed to be Mexico that was, supposed to pay for the wall. I mean, again, that is something that he said at a lot of his rallies, right? What he kept telling his fans: "Oh no, we're gonna build a wall, and who's gonna pay for it? Mexico. Mexico's gonna pay for the wall. Of course, they're gonna pay for the wall, right? Oh, but Jeff, you understand? He actually never meant that. He never meant that. Yeah, but no, that's not true because that's an actual literal policy proposal. Now, that proposal was titled Compelling Mexico to Pay for the Wall, and it was rolled out in a 2-page memo in April of 2016. Now, the plan, which has been deleted from the Trump campaign website but retrieved through web archives, so again, they realized, oh, yeah, Mexico's not going to pay for the wall. Now, what it was, this memo was basically a somewhat detailed strategy to try to force Mexico to pay for the wall. Now, that scheme, by the way, do you know how long this was supposed to take? Not the first 100 days, although it would be technically in the first 100 days. No, this scheme to make Mexico pay for the wall would have taken approximately 3 days. 3 days. Oh, yeah, no. As soon as I become president, on my third day, we'll have Mexico pay for the wall. How ridiculous. They actually believed it would take 3 days. Now, here are the details according to the Daily Beast. Now, first, Trump would issue, this would be day one, a threat to change a rule under the USA Patriot Act to halt money transfers from undocumented Mexican nationals inside the United States back to Mexico. Now, that money is known as remittances, right? And it amounts to roughly $25 billion annually and makes up nearly 3% of Mexico's GDP, according to the World Bank. Oh, yeah, so we're going to stop these remittances, right? We're going to stop $25 billion from going to Mexico, and then Mexico is going to be so mad that they're going to pay for the wall. That does not make sense. That doesn't make sense at all. But nonetheless, Trump wrote in the memo, quote, "It's an easy decision for Mexico. Make a one-time payment of $5 to $10 billion to ensure that $24 billion continues to flow into their country year after year." But wait a minute. Again, that doesn't make sense. Okay, so right now remittances are about $25 billion a year. If you build a wall that is theoretically supposed to keep undocumented immigrants out, then how are they going to get into the United States to work and then send the remittances back to Mexico? That doesn't make any sense. That makes no sense. But again, apparently, it makes all the sense in the world to Donald Trump, to Donald Dotard. I mean, the other thing is, how are you going to track down that money? Like, how are you going to find that money? If you can't find the undocumented immigrants to take it from, how are you going to find the money? Oh, this is so dumb. But there's more. There's more. Now, if everything goes to plan, right, Trump would then issue a threat. Or I should say, after issuing that threat, Trump would then respond to a presumably panicking Mexican government with a promise not to enact the rule change, saying, if the Mexican government will contribute the funds needed to the United States to pay for the wall. So I'm going to threaten them with the rule, and then they're going to be like, oh my God, Mr. Trump, oh my God. Here, we'll just give it, we'll pay for the wall, Just don't stop those remittances from coming into our country. Okay. Now, on the memo, Trump concluded, quote, "We have the moral high ground here and all the leverage. It is time we use it to make America great again." Oh, it's going to be so easy to get Mexico to pay for the wall, guys. All we have to do is just threaten them. Except that, no, it wasn't easy. But of course, look, nobody but Trump's fans really took it seriously. And I think, to be honest, look, I think Trump took it seriously until he realized how difficult it was. And then he was like, oh, never mind. This is actually going to be hard and not going to work. So I'll back off from this. I mean, nobody knew building a wall and making Mexico pay for it would be so hard. I guess it's actually easier to try to get taxpayers to pay for it, American taxpayers. And look, they did actually try, right? Now, according to former Trump campaign advisor, Sam Nunberg, talking to the Daily Beast, he said, quote, there are a lot of options in the air. However, the idea that Mexico would literally pay billions for the wall, like writing a check, was for political fodder rather than a legitimate policy proposal. Somebody tell the MAGA guys in the audience, hey, he didn't actually say that that Mexico was literally going to pay for a wall, like a check. Oh, no, but now, of course, Trump's saying something completely different, right? But Nunberg says it was going to be paid from then in terms of they were going to get less money from the United States. Noting that, Nunberg said, noting that the campaign toyed with multiple funding sources for the wall, only some of which involved Mexico directly funding the wall. So they were thinking about it. They were thinking about it. And they're like, there's no way that we can get this to happen. So what they settled on, kind of, before they went and abandoned the idea of having Mexico pay it all for the wall, was, okay, look, Mexico's going to pay for the wall, but not by giving America money, but having America give them less money, and somehow that translates to Mexico paying for the wall. That doesn't, what? No, that doesn't make any sense. So that's really, really dumb. Now, Trump, of course, after realizing how difficult this was, denied that there were any specific plans for Mexico to directly pay for the wall. But what I just showed you, there was a policy memo in 2016, in April, with these different ways where Mexico was supposed to pay for the wall. Oh, but no, didn't actually exist. I never said that. He said, obviously, I never said and never meant they're going to write out a check. Mexico will pay for the wall indirectly. No, they're not. No, they're not. It's going to be American taxpayer. But it gets better. As the Daily Beast notes, for a figurative policy which eventually entailed extorting billions of dollars from the Mexican government, it became pretty well concrete. The plan invokes the USA Patriot Act to issue detailed regulations under 31 CFR 130.120-121, using customer identification regulations to block payments for unauthorized residents of the United States to residents of Mexico. Now, there's a bit of a problem there. And again, that's from the memo. That is very detailed, which shows you they were definitely trying to do something like this, right? Now, there's a problem to that. There is no regulation at 31 CFR 130.120-121. Those customer identification regulations are actually found in a completely different section of the code. But all that aside, much of Trump's proposal is actually already enacted at the time that he proposed it. Oh, I know, stealing somebody else's ideas and credit for it? No, you'd never do that. No, in his plan, Trump declared that he would threaten to issue a regulation redefining applicable financial institutions to include money transfer companies like Western Union. However, Western Union and all similar financial wire couriers are already categorized as financial institutions under federal law. And they have their own separate customer identification requirements. Other proposed revenue streams for the president's border wall in the document include fees on visa applications, surcharges on remittance payments, good luck getting those, and canceling visas entirely. And those have all, interestingly, similarly disappeared from the Trump agenda. Although, the Daily Beast notes that it's unclear why. I wonder why they didn't show up. Come on. Now, there were other, of course, attempts to do tax remittances. The Border Wall Funding Act of 2017, which was created by Alabama Republican and longtime supporter of the president, Mike Rogers, would add a 2% tax to all remittances sent to Central and South America, to be expended for improving border security, not necessarily a wall, but still the same thing. Now, the bill was stalled out in Congress since March of 2017, when Republicans controlled both chambers of commerce. It appears that even Republicans thought, no, this is a bad idea. And of course, now you don't hear the president talking about it. Now it's Chuck and Nancy needs to give me money from a wall, because who's paying for it? We are! That sounds a little flashier than, doesn't sound quite as flashy as Mexico paying for it, but that's the truth of the matter. Now, the White House, of course, did not respond to multiple questions or comments as to why Trump dropped the remittance idea, whether the proposal was merely a rhetorical device, or how the president could square his statement that he never said and never meant that Mexico would directly pay for the wall with his own detailed plan for Mexico to pay for the wall. But he won't answer the question because he doesn't have a good answer. Now, and look, there's a reason for that, right? We know this, right? Now, I want to get to a quote here from Alex Narasta, a senior immigration policy analyst at the Cato Institute Center for Global Liberty and Prosperity. Now, he told the Daily Beast that the notion Mexico would ever pay for the wall was extremely unlikely, even by Trump's newest definition, and Trump almost certainly knew it. He said, I suspect Trump dropped the idea for 3 reasons. First, it wouldn't raise enough revenue. I doubt that was a consideration. Second, remittances don't go to the Mexican government, so the threat wouldn't carry much weight. Very true. Third, it would be very difficult to only tax illegal immigrants through such a tax. Also incredibly true. So obviously, there are some big problems with those plans to try to get Mexico to pay for the wall. But I am not convinced that Trump is smart enough to know any of that. I think that he really just thought that he could bully Mexico to pay for the wall in 3 days. And when that didn't happen, well, then he got upset and he decided to switch gears to making American taxpayers pay for the wall. Leading us to, of course, to our current situation, where our government is now in a partial shutdown. Millions of people are going, well, I wouldn't say millions, about 800,000 federal workers are going without pay, and many of them are still going to work, where millions of people are facing the possibility of losing their food stamps once money runs out. And of course, you have a lot of people on Section 8 housing assistance that might also end up losing their homes. And then, of course, people will end up having their credit ruined if they can't pay their bills, these federal workers. So it's going to be a huge disaster thanks to our very stable genius president. Congratulations, Donald. Dumbass. Hey guys, hopefully you enjoyed that free video. Now I'm going to have to ask you a favor. Between the demonetization and the YouTube algorithm messing around with view counts, etc., we're having a hard time adjusting to the new YouTube reality, which is where you guys come in. See, we have a Patreon, patreon.com/TYTNation, set up to help us rely on you guys, the viewers, instead of big corporate ads. Look, you know the show. You know I'm not in favor of big corporations anyway. So help us transition away from relying on the ad model to pay the bills and sign up to be a patron, patreon.com/TYTNation. That goes a long way to help us keep the lights on. And you guys will know that you're supporting independent, progressive media.